Malaysia's parliament passes the government's historic $79 billion budget, the vote showing that Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin still commands majority support. And Professor Johan Saravanamuttu joins us now from the Nanyang Technological University. Thanks very much for joining us, Professor. So a narrow margin of victory for Prime Minister Muhyiddin, just 3 votes. What do you make of the results?
Well, it's narrow, but he has won quite a few votes, even in the committee stage, where the opposition under Anwar Ibrahim was usually unable to muster as many as 111 votes. But there was one particular vote at the committee stage during the vote on the federal budget, federal territories budget, where they got the same number. So I think it was quite clear that there were no defectors, can we say, from the Perikatan National Coalition. So that coalition held firm. It's very interesting to note also that the numbers on the opposition side had reached 108, which is a very large number. But however, they were definitely short of, causing a turnover. Yeah.
Now, the Prime Minister survived, but as you mentioned, the numbers on the opposition side is high, is very close margin, in fact. Are snap polls then still on the horizon, or you think we could be in for a period of sort of stability for a while?
I suspect that snap polls are not likely to be called because Muhyiddin has, I think, demonstrated that he's able to hold together the government. There were about 27 votes in the committee stage, and he won all of them. Each of the ministries were carried, the budget for the ministries were carried through. There are sitting right now being tabled. There were 27 votes or motions of confidence or no confidence table, but none of this, I think, will come to the fore because the speaker has ruled that these are not matters of priority. And of course, because the government has demonstrated their strength in the budget vote, which is a proxy for a confidence vote, they will carry on. And Muhyiddin has said that he won't have a snap poll until the COVID situation settles. So we know that the COVID situation is still very, very dicey at the moment, 100,000 over cases per day. So it's very unlikely that we will have a snap poll very soon. And Muhyiddin will have until 2023. Now, he may not take that long to call elections because he would want to consolidate. He would want to consolidate his party and his strength first before he calls the polls. So it could go for a couple of years, I would say, before he calls the polls.
Now, we knew that the opposition leader, Anwar Ibrahim, had these plans to rally MPs against the budget, but he clearly didn't succeed. Why do you think that's the case?
Well, Anwar, you see, at the end of the day, probably never had the numbers. I was doing some calculations. Anwar, in September, claimed that he had a formidable, convincing majority, and he actually got an audience with the king. He had presented some documents, and the king himself, the Yang Pertuan Agong, said there was no real evidence that he had the numbers, he had the backing of actual members of parliament. So if you do the counting, his party would have something like 88 or so. His party plus his coalition partners would have about 88 votes. And you have the Warisan Party plus some others may come to about 95, 96. What happened today was that you had support from the Mahathir camp, which added more numbers, so that made up the 108. Very interesting to note also that the Muhyiddin's coalition may have fallen had it not been for the fact that there were 2 members of parliament who were allowed to carry out their vote in PPE. Personal protective gear, because they were supposed to be quarantined because of COVID, but they were allowed to vote in their protective gear in the gallery. 2 of them were from the government, 1 of them from the opposition. But still, if you do the counting, he would still have got a slight majority over Anwar's supporters.
Well, thanks very much for giving us your perspective on events in Malaysia today. Professor Johan Saravanamuttu from the Nanyang Technological University.